Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Resident Evil Apocalypse, starring Mila Jovovich, Sienna Guillory, Odette Fairhair, Thomas Kretschmann, and Sophie Vavauskas. Forgive me if I said that wrong. Directed by Alexander Witt. Now, I don't think I saw this in theaters. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I didn't see it in theaters, but I've heard of it, but I've seen it before, but just not in theaters. Maybe on home viewing at best is where I saw the movie. But what do I think of it? While we get to the rebooted Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, let's get started on this show. We open with Alice, returned by Mila Jovovich, saying a message that recaps the entire ending of the first movie. And do we need this? It depends on if you want to watch the first movie, which I didn't like, but in my case, I would say yes for that reason. But if you're new to this series, and then no, as this plot is much worse than the last time. We get to Raccoon City and we pick up Dr. Ashford, and his daughter is being picked up from school as this whole city is in evacuation, as it'll eventually turn into zombies with a reason that'll never be explained unless if you play the games, unlike me. 13 hours later, we meet Jill Valentine, played by Sienna Guillory, who shoots the infected in the head and gets LJ, played by Mike Epps. What the fuck are you doing here? As this character doesn't work, and neither does any of these characters, including Alice, who comes off very unlikable here like the last time. And is this scary like the game? Not by a long shot. While a zombie bites a human, and Carlos Oliveira, played by Odette Fairhair from the two Brendan Fraser Mummy films, tries to save the woman, but she commits suicide, and this makes no fucking sense. As this movie is a mess and all over the place, to the point I can't even keep track of what the fuck is going on in this movie. Umbrella Corporation closes the doors to the city as they are trapped with the zombies, and the soldiers shoot civilians down. And I'm thinking, for what? It makes no sense. Meanwhile, the government is telling Dr. Ashford to get out of the city, but he's not leaving without his daughter, and there's so many problems with this movie I can't even name them all. As this is a very problematic script that doesn't have a brain in its head like the last film. I don't think any of these films do, but we'll get there in the future. Alice has so many flashbacks about Matt from the last film being taken by the government. It wasn't necessary? Let's face it. This fucking movie isn't necessary. This again is an ugly and dark film like Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, but this has a little more lights, whereas EVP Requiem doesn't have any. And this is the same idea as the first film, where EVP is the same director as the first Resident Evil film, Paul W.S. Anderson, and the sequel, directed by a different person or two, makes the lighting much darker, as it's a problem there as it's a problem now. It's a problem there as it's a problem now. Jill and some others go to a church where they hide from the zombies, as Jill sees a priest feeding his infected sister, as that was a sick and disturbing scene as she hunts around for the zombies after it escapes and shoots other monsters in the church until Alice enters the church through a motorcycle, which was the stupidest entry I've ever seen in the movies thus far, as she blows one of them up and the cross smashes one of them down and blows them all to hell. Like I should be doing to this movie right now, which I currently am. LJ crashes the car as he was staring at some zombie boobs, which is pretty fucking stupid, while Carlos and his men is surrounded by zombies and start to run away. And I thought, it's about fucking time. While this movie is stupid as shit, without a brain in its head, Alice points the gun at Jill and Sergeant Peyton Wells, as Peyton is infected, and Jill lets Peyton live, which is a dreadful scene as the zombies come from underground, which makes sense, but the problem I'm having is they're already dead, not from Umbrella, but already dead, which got worse for my taste. The Umbrella Corporation unleashes a creature while Carlos and others with him find a helicopter and doesn't care, and that doesn't come for them, and then they go inside a building to stay safe, but one guy gets infected and they shoot him dead, which was stupid. LJ gets to safety in a movie theater until, next thing you know, the monster has a bazooka and knocks down the sign that was covering a sniper, and the people in the movie theater shoot at the monster as he shoots them dead, except for LJ, as oh my god, this is just stupid. As he drops his guns, and I'm thinking the monster is a goddamn robot, while the script is already a mess as it is. Dr. Ashford calls the phone booths to get Alice's attention so they can make a deal to find his daughter, and he'll get them out of Raccoon City, as they have no choice but to accept. And I feel myself checked out of this movie at this point, as this whole movie is a complete headache like last time. The gang is getting attacked by the monster called Nemesis, while Alice escapes it and Peyton is killed, and I didn't give a shit at this point because he was going to turn into a zombie, and I thought, what was the point of this, keeping this guy alive to begin with, as it bothered me to begin with. Jill gets a car started while Peyton attacks her and she shoots his ass, which was bad enough as it was anyways. Meanwhile, Carlos knows the helicopter that they saw earlier did see them, but didn't come to them on purpose, and LJ hitches a ride as Jill picks him up, and they go to the school to find Dr. Ashford's daughter, and LJ is almost dead until Carlos comes in and tells them they're partners, and the reporter lady gets killed by a pack of school kids that are zombies, and Jill finds the daughter of Angela, and they get encountered by zombies as well as zombie dogs, and Nikolai comes to help and gets killed right away, which was hilarious in a bad way. Just like Jill blowing up the kitchen with Alice throwing a cigarette at the kitchen, and Jill first learns that Angela and Alice are both infected, and Angela tells how this whole thing happened, which I didn't care anymore. While Carlos was bitten 3 hours ago, and Alice calls Ashford, and after they give them the location of the helicopter, and Ashford's boss finds out, as this is beginning to look like bullshit. They get to Umbrella Corporation and beat up the security guards, and they get trapped, and Nemesis arrives, and they get Alice fighting against Nemesis as the bad guy shoots Ashford in the head, and the fight begins, and the choreography in that scene was terrible, as she wins the fight and learns it was met from the first film, and chooses not to finish Nemesis off, as he almost kills Alice off, but instead shoots the guards and let the heroes go, and the bad guys try to shoot Alice down, but Nemesis shoots the helicopter with a bazooka and dies, and the heroes escape while Alice throws the bad guy out the helicopter to let the zombies eat him to death. While all of this is waste of talent and time, a missile shoots Umbrella Corporation while something almost stabs Angela, but Alice sacrifices herself as they crash. 2 hours later, we see Alice lying dead while the others escape, and Carlos and Jill are wanted for questioning, and Alice is stuck in a laboratory about to survive and is safe. They treat her like a science project and can't remember who she is, and suddenly remembers everything and beats up all the scientists, and we see she has powers to kill others, and sees Carlos, Jill, and with LJ as they take her away from the Umbrella Corporation, and the climax was blah, blah, blah. I was glad the movie was over, as it was a dreadful piece of work. And I'm going to just say it now, and I'm going to sing it. It's beginning to look a lot like bullshit. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 1.5 out of 10. The movie was again loud and violent, as I don't like the characters this time, and it's worse than last time. The action is poorly directed with choreography that ain't shit, with some poor choices being made, as I didn't care as I was checked out 45 minutes into the movie. This is a dreadful piece of work that doesn't get any better, that I have no choice but to finish out the series for the show, as this is going to be, again, the bumpiest ride I've had at the movies. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Resident Evil Extinction. And until then, game over.